Hello, this is Scylla Conway, and this is the second of my talks on the Devas of Creation. Today I want to talk about communicating with the Devas and also about manifestation. Well, first question is, why would you want to communicate with the Devas? As far as I can see, it's really about becoming much more conscious for yourself. The Devas are pure consciousness, they're pure energy, and the more we become aware of our own consciousness, the more we'll be able to communicate with ourselves and with the world around us, and actually get the things that we need in our lives. Because the more in alignment we are, the more we'll get. It sounds a little bit crass like that, but it's also about happiness. Then when you're in alignment with yourself, you feel completely happy. So, communicating with the Devas. These are massive beings. You're not going to see them, they're invisible. But if you walk out into the land and really become conscious of what you're doing, you're stepping each step, consciously aware of what you're stepping on, what's around you, the birds, the trees, the leaves, the bird's song, the wind, the sun, everything you can think of will be a part of that communication. After a while, see if there's anything that you need to stop for. There may be something that's calling for your attention. If there isn't, that's fine, just carry on. But if there's something that calls for your attention, stop and look at it. Stay with it. Smell it. Feel it. Be aware of it in as many different ways as you possibly can. After a while, when you've got what you need from it, then come back, but thank it before you go. Now, this is not always going to be a pleasant thing. Sometimes you're going to be called by something that you would think is a bit, dead animal, sludgy water. If you're in a city, and you can do this in a city as well, it could be, again, dirty water, something you don't even want to see. But the city, the Devas are in the city as well. They have overlighting Devas for each being. So, for example, you would get a different Deva in each suburb. And it's the same with the country. You get kind of suburbs of different trees, for example, or a lake or whatever. So, again, it's about you communicating. Not about what I can tell you to do. I would only suggest that you try it. Go out and become aware that the Devas will never be evil. They will always be positive and negative, destructive and creative. They're whole beings. We can't do this very easily. Humans don't do wholeness. We have a split brain, and so we do right and left, and we do good and evil, really good at good and evil. But in actual fact, there's nothing evil in the Devas universe. We can hook in and make it evil, and there is destruction. There's certainly destruction, but it's not evil. It's natural. If you fight it, then you're going to turn it into something evil, but it's not. The quantum physicists are now coming to the conclusion that you can have dark and light at the same time, or a cat that's alive and dead. It sort of does our head in, but it's still exactly what the Devas are all about. They don't do yes and no, they do yes and. So, once you've got your thing that you need to concentrate on, or even just a feeling that you've been in the land and it's spoken to you and it's wonderful or horrible, whatever, come back in after thanking them for their attention and work out what it was that they're saying to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything that you want to hear. The Devas have a nasty habit of telling me something that I really don't want to hear, but I do listen to them. So they'll talk to you through various different ways. They talk to me through synchronicity. For example, a couple of days ago, I was trying to work out the missing link in manifestation. I knew that you have to imagine it or dream what you want. And then, hopefully, after a while, you manifest it. but there was something in between, because so many people I know want dreadfully to get whatever it is that they desire. And they work with it, and they do all the right things, and they imagine it, and they have the right diet and all that, and then it doesn't happen. And a couple of days later, I found a little Nike pendant thing that said, dream it, believe it, achieve it. And I thought, believe it then. Well, it's belief. That's the difference. It's trust and it's belief. But of course, belief is actually not that simple. We've got all sorts of other beliefs in our heads that we've had ever since we were born, you know, about not being good enough. So there'll be all sorts of stuff about, no, I can't get this, it's too good for me. Or somebody else should have it. Or, you know, lots of guilt, lots of stuff. And the only way to deal with it is not the New Age stuff about, not the New Age belief about just ignoring it and bringing your energy up every time. Yes, bring your energy up. Don't let it go into a slough despond. But work out at the same time what is going on. What's stopping you? Where are the beliefs from? Can you move on from there? I tend to work creatively with whatever I come up with. I either do a reading for myself, or I do a painting, or I do a little piece of writing and a drawing. That works for me. It may not work for you. I'm hoping that you have all done enough processing in your life to be able to deal with the unconscious stuff. Thank you. Do I need that? No. Yeah, you can go. The communication from Devas will be in dreams. They'll be through writing. They'll actually be direct as well. Some people have internal voices that speak to them very, very clearly. Either way, if you sit with it and don't sort of rush around saying, oh my God, I haven't actually had an answer yet, and they haven't manifested either. Desperation. I don't know how I managed to get into manifestation. I did want to talk about it though, so let's go on to manifestation. If you're desperate, you will not achieve what you want. You have to be slightly okay with getting just about anything. Yes, dream it and have a real sense of wonder that you could achieve it. For example, now it's disappeared. I achieved this house with the most perfect view. And that's not a photo, that's the actual reflection. And I achieved it because I could dream it. And then I started coming out. I worked out first where I wanted to come to. And it turned out to be Italy. So then I started taking trips out to Italy. And carried on looking for houses for about 5 months until I found this one. And I'd just about given up when this one came in. So it's possible. And you don't have to compromise like the location people said. But I tell you what, the worst thing, the most difficult thing to manifest is relationships. And so many people come for readings and they want, you know, their soulmate relationship. It's really difficult to achieve. Because not only do you have your own issues and your own unconscious issues, you've got theirs. You've also got unconscious projections. So the whole thing that you're working with is internal imagery. And that goes for any manifestation. But we don't actually realize it. In my search for the house, I didn't actually realize what I was looking for until I found it. So you have to go easy with it. Just say, okay, no, that isn't right, and move on. But people, it's much more difficult with, because we look at them and we think, they're rather gorgeous, yes, and they're intelligent. Yeah, they'll do. But that isn't a soulmate. The soulmate thing is much deeper, and it probably has very little to do with external surface stuff at all. You're talking about a connection deep inside. And as I say, it's complicated by the fact that you're projecting onto them all sorts of internal imagery, they're projecting onto you all sorts of internal imagery, and it often just goes crunch after about 6 months. It's like, who is this person? I don't even like them. And it fizzles out. However, I think that every single relationship we get into teaches us something. So the best thing, again, to deal with manifesting something that isn't in the end the right thing is you say thank you and you move on and you see how far you've come. It's not a surface thing. It's not an easy thing. We're talking about deep stuff here. If you can't process your unconscious, I would suggest that you go back to the beginning and start again. Because this is not for beginners. Manifesting isn't for beginners. Communicating with the Devas, anyone can do if they want to. But manifesting is more difficult. And it's about trust and it's about faith. I would have said that the best thing you can do now is to forget everything I've said to you today. Because I'll have left stuff out. And you have to discover it for your own self anyway. Some people are very good at manifesting. They probably tell you much more than I have. But you have to do it. So I think this time I'm just going to leave you with, go out and practice. Go out and talk to the Devas in either the city or a park or in a wood or the mountains. And also try to find out what your soul wants for you. It'll be what you most desire. And often we don't even let ourselves acknowledge that. So that's the first trick. Find out what you most desire. And then believe that you can get it. And you will. Okay, till next time. Bye-bye.